Now we're back. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Good to go?
I'm good to go.
3 cylinders, or how many cylinders you have going?
I got 8.
Oh, yeah. So that's good. So you're welcome back.
Yes.
Welcome back to Nigeria. You know, Nigeria is your home.
Yes, it is.
Even though you were originally from the U.S.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my ancestry goes back to the 1800s.
Okay.
And Fela was the one who reintroduced me to the motherland. And for that, I will be forever grateful to him. And I'm the first of my lineage to return to Africa.
The first of your lineage. What
Right.
happened to the rest of them? They're still
Well,
wrapped up in the American...
Well, here's the thing. The miseducation of the black African American is still going on today. It's still being perpetrated. And I would say with the internet, now black African Americans are now being exposed. But before, they only had Hollywood television to teach them. And the things that Hollywood television was teaching them was nothing positive about Africa. They only showed bush. They didn't show cities. They showed, and I'm going back some years, but the picture that they portrayed was Tarzan and African people living in grass huts.
Like in Nigeria, for instance, they won't go to Ileki, they won't go to, the posh areas of
No.
Nigeria. They'll go to one village where even me don't even know.
Right.
And then portray that to the world and say, this is Nigeria, this is Africa. I mean,
Well, it's called divide and conquer.
okay.
And the division, as long as the division is there, because see, they know that we, black African Americans that have been educated and exposed, know the true value of unity, of us coming together. Once we come together, Africa will set herself free, and from the chains that have been placed upon her neck by the Western world. And I say chains, but what I'm basically saying, the exploitation of the Western world to Africa. Just recently, I had read where one of the French prime minister had made a statement saying that without Africa, France would become a third world nation. And if you read all of the agreements that were put in place and the things that were done by the French to the African nations, then you will understand why they have this chokehold and they don't want us coming together.
Anyway, it's a good thing, the truth is coming out.
For me, I think the Nigerians understand it better. And the reason why I say I believe the Nigerians understand it better, per capita, the Nigerians are the most educated in the world. Not only that, Nigerians are everywhere.
They're like Jews.
Yeah, they're everywhere. And they know, they've been exposed and they see. So I think with just by the chatter of the youth, of the younger generation, I understand that they know and they want change.
Life in itself is all about change, actually. And speaking of change, look at me. I'm wearing all black with maybe a touch of blue and red. And here you are. How do you even explain this?
I think the universe put us in connection today.
That we woke up on the same side of the bed?
Yes.
We're wearing black and red?
Yes.
So, I mean, what does this signify? Because you are really into this abstract and philosophical realm.
Well, I think, like you said, we woke, it was philosophical, but the universe has a way of connecting people, and if you just stay quiet long enough, everything will fall into place. And I think the colors, red, black, and whites, are significant in the Yoruba culture, right?
Yeah.
And at one point, everything was red, black, and white. I mean, in my home, my whole theme was red, black, and white.
So your spirit came to my end and said, Thekla,
Yeah. Wake up.
wake up, wear black and red. Can you
Right.
beat that?
Right. And
Black and red.
threw in a little, oh no,
Touch of-
here's your silver.
Yes.
Yeah, so there you go.
You too, you have it.
Right.
So now, Sandra, for some people who may not really know you, and they're wondering, who is Sandra? So what was the connection between you and Fela?
Well, the connection between Fela and myself, I actually started in Los Angeles because I was looking for that African man that was going to teach me African history, because I had found out so many or much of the education that had been given to me was all lies. So what I did when I met Fela, I just knew he would be the one teaching me.
Why? How?
I just felt that he would teach me.
Was it the energy?
It was the energy, and it was spiritually brought about, the connection between the two of us. But I found out years later I was the teacher.
You became Fela's mentor.
Yes.
Can you beat that?
But, you know, it went in, my thought was he was going to teach me.
And then you ended up teaching him.
Right.
So
and
what were those things you taught him?
I wasn't aware. Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is one of the things. The importance of using music to get your message across for change. That you shouldn't sing about frivolous things. You should sing about things that can enlighten someone, educate. I think you should educate through music. Musicians have a responsibility. And not only should you bring joy in your music, but while you're having the joy, you should be getting an education.
Can you play that? I love that. I want to swing to that rhythm you're passing on. You know what I mean?
It's information. And sometimes the information that is passed along is not really good information. But what it is good is when you can put imagery with what you're saying, then some people can say, oh, that's what's happening. I don't like this, or I like it. You do it for change, and the change should be positive.
Okay, so when exactly did you meet him?
When did I meet Fela?
Yes.
I met Fela in 1969
Where?
in Los Angeles.
At what sport?
Actually, it was the Ambassador Hotel. He was playing, it was the NAACP. It was an NAACP event. And Juno Lewis, a master drummer, and insisted that I meet this group that was here from Africa. And by this time, I was like, I had become somewhat apathetic in my search, because the other African students that I had met, none of them seemed progressive. And they were all like sheep being led to slaughter. And I knew that wasn't it. But when I met Fela, I knew that he was different. And we hit it off from day one.
Was it just the spiritual?
It was definitely a spiritual connection.
Okay, so was there some kind of intimacy exchanged?
No, actually, no. It was just this look. I walked into the patio because it was a garden party. The NAACP was having an event. And as I walked in, I looked up on stage. And as I was looking up, Fela was looking down. And we made eye contact. And it was just like that.
And when you saw him, that eye contact, what did you interpret it to be?
I don't know. It was just a connection. It was a very strong
You
connection.
just looked into each other's eyes,
And we stared.
that was it.
We just stared. And I mean, it wasn't a look and turn away. It was a
You
look
locked your
Yes.
eyes
Yes.
against each other.
until I followed. He followed me across the room, and I'm looking at him until I sat down.
And then thereafter,
I just sat there, and then when the intermission came, Juno came and said he wanted me to come to the bar. Someone wanted to meet me, and I looked back, and there was Fela.
can you build that?
Yeah.
So how was Fela then, back then?
I thought he was funny. He is, Fela is a funny man. Funny. He was very assured, confident, and aggressive.
Aggressive. How aggressive?
Aggressive, not in a negative manner, but he was quick to tell me what I was going to do. So that's what I thought was funny. And at the same time, let me know that this is a go-getter, the type of aggressive type man.
Okay, so did the bond, did it grow into any kind of intimacy? Did you take it a step further?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
it did go. It did become intimate.
How long did it take for you to say yes to him?
It didn't take long at all.
Oh, whoa.
I don't think it took long at all. I mean, it was like, remember, I had already made up in my mind that it was going to be an African man that was going to teach me the African way, teach me about myself. So when I met Fela, and he passed all of my little, which wasn't very many, it's just one thing in particular. When I saw that his mind was open, that he had an open mind, everything else was like a cakewalk.
Or just a walkover. Interesting. So how was it like? How was it like in your relationship? How did you cope with a fella?
It was easy for me because it was very exciting. It was different. A different culture, a different lifestyle, different music, and I wanted to learn. I wanted to know. I wanted to know about my African roots. I had only been lied to. I had only been lied to through religion. I had only been lied through education, because education had given me all the wrong information. It never taught us the real truth about who we are. And I'm sure you got that same education with Hollywood. So being with Fela, a real African man, I just knew that the truth would come out.
Did it eventually come out?
Oh, the truth is coming out every day. That was the beginning. That was the beginning of me touching my roots, to feel the culture, to get into the culture. And the thing that it did was Fela brought me here.
So what was most fascinating about the culture?
Everything. I couldn't, the food was different. And, a fella had said African food was the best food in the world. I didn't get it because he couldn't cook. But then when I started to eat it, it was like, this food is good. It's different.
So what about did you eat?
Moi moi.
Okay.
Oh, and then the moi moi, and then the egusi. I got turned out on the egusi, plantain. And then is
When
it
you eat the
Efo?
egusi, did you?
Oh, of course.
you
with the ham.
swallowed eba, pounded yam,
Yeah.
amala. Really? Are you for real?
Yes. And now, and here's the thing, it's been a progress through Fela. I've grown. I know how to cook African food now, but it doesn't seem to get that taste that the authentic taste that I get when here.
Maybe it's the ingredients.
No, I use the same ingredients. They're all imported, but I do it, I do it in America.
Okay.
But all of my American friends, they love it too.
Are you kidding
They
me?
love it too.
Wow.
So now it's this growth in America. There's an interest with the Black African American about Africa. But that old stigma has tried to keep us separated, because when you divide, you conquer. But where there's unity, there's strength.
Oh wow, that's pretty heavy, pretty heavy.
But it's
so
real.
for you, since you had that kind of close relationship with Fela, what was his favorite food
Well,
way back then? You're talking about the sisters,
well,
right?
he loved while he was in America. He loved his fried chicken, his ice cream, and his cake. Now, and don't forget the orange juice. But when it came to stew, he liked his red stew.
Stew. Stew
African stew.
with what?
With the pepper, tomatoes, onion, the regular.
You are really. Can you speak any of the language?
No, I can't speak the language.
Oh.
I can't speak the language.
Nothing at all.
Well, I hear words, and every time I try to speak, because of the tonation of the language, and whenever I would try to speak, everybody else would start laughing. So I just left it alone.
Can you make me laugh? Say
No,
something. Say something.
well, yeah.
That's pretty easy. Say something really.
Well, no, but I remember always Fela was,
Oh yeah, let's go.
and Kilonche,
Oh!
and I never really. I'm like, okay, you just hear things.
Kilonche.
Yeah, but I don't have the tonations.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Do you know what Owa is?
no.
So which other word can you?
Edabo.
Odabo.
Yes, you
Okay.
see, I messed it up.
But at least you're trying. You're trying.
And then there's a food that I like.
Which is?
And I can never say it right, because even when I go in the store and I try to say it right, the guy, they didn't know what I was talking
What
about.
is it made from?
Well, I'm going to try to say it. Pomo?
Pomo?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, Pomo is nice.
Yeah, but I wasn't calling it pomo in the beginning.
Okay, what were you calling it?
Pom pom. and everyone would look at me, what are you talking about? I said, I want pom pom, So,
Oh my word.
yeah.
That's interesting. Very, very interesting.
And they were looking at me like, what is this? What is she talking about?
When did you first eat Pomo?
The very first time was in 76 in Fela's house, but I didn't know what it was.
Can
Okay.
you beat that?
Yeah.
Pomo?
Yeah. I had it then, and actually, it's a funny story.
Tell us about it.
Well, at Calcutta, the wives would cook, and
Okay.
I was upstairs. I didn't do any cooking.
Okay.
I made some chili beans once when I was here,
Okay.
but I had the room upstairs across from Mommy,
Okay.
Fela's mother,
Okay.
and so I was in the room with Kolokbo. Kolokbo was teaching me the song that was recorded,
Okay.
Upside Down.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was teaching me that song, and we were working with that song. I think Binga was there that day, one of Fela's bodyguards. And we were hungry. And I was like, oh, I want something to eat. Well, I knew that the women always prepared food. And they had it, downstairs that they would have for him. So I went downstairs and I looked, and sure enough, there was all the food. So I got the food and I took it upstairs, and we went up. and that's when I had the pomo, in a red sauce with the pounded yam, and we're eating and enjoying ourselves. And then later on, a big meeting was called, and I was wondering, well, what is it? And my name was involved. And they wanted to know, Sandra, did you eat up Fela's food? I said, well, yeah. I thought it was for everybody. But what happened when I found out the girls would cook for Fela, he would tell whatever wife the wife that he was going to be with that night, she would prepare the food, and they would be together. But only this time I kind of messed up the show.
Whoa.
By eating up the food, and it was so good. It was so good.
So what eventually happened? Did they let you go like that? Did they just let you off?
Well, they had to let me off because when Fela was in America and he was at my mom's house, if there was food, anything he could have. It wasn't,
Wasn't specified.
Thank you. I mean, one thing that from my family, when it's time to eat, everybody eats.
Okay.
And if you eat it all up, oh well, we'll just buy some more.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
we
nice.
make some more. You don't fight over food.
Okay. Okay. So how did you deal with the wives then?
I got along with all of the wives well.
Really?
It was only like only 3 that I can say were troublesome.
We cannot get enough of you. Every time you come, we don't seem to have enough of you. So thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank
you so much. Thank you so much. And so viewers, that's where we wrap it up on Saturday night tonight. Until next week, it's been Saturday night. Like I always say, be kind to one another.